to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where you're gently guided toward a realm of comforting rest. Tonight, you are invited to drift into the crisp, cooling lullaby of Patagonia, Argentina, where endless expanses of ice and shimmering blue waters beckon you to relax and explore. Before we begin, take a long, slow breath in. Feel your chest expand with soothing air. And as you exhale, feel the day's tensions begin to melt. Imagine each breath as a step away from your busy thoughts, allowing you to settle into a calm, peaceful presence. Here, in the hush of this moment, you can simply be. You can let every worry float away on a soft, passing breeze. Allow your eyes to settle and close if they feel heavy. Breathe in once more, slowly, filling your lungs with gentle warmth. Breathe out, releasing the remnants of stress that still linger. Envision a delicate mist enveloping your body, dissolving any tightness in your muscles, any anxious buzz in your mind, and any lingering heaviness in your heart. As you continue breathing, let your awareness descend into a place of complete comfort. Nothing else demands your attention right now. You are safe, you are warm, and you are free to drift deeper. Soon we will explore Patagonia's glacial wonders, those ancient whispered corridors of ice, where time seems to stand still and nature's soothing hum is the only sound. This tranquil land will be your companion for the evening, gently guiding you toward a realm of pure rest. Let us begin this journey with calm and openness, ready to welcome the quiet grace of the frozen landscape that awaits. On a wide and lonely plain, a traveler named Luciana stood at the edge of a sweeping valley in southern Argentina. Above her, the sky stretched in an endless canopy of muted blues and soft grays, hinting at a subtle transformation from dusk to twilight. In that silent hour, the world felt suspended between day and night, between motion and stillness, as though the mountains themselves were holding their breath. Gentle winds circled around her ankles, rustling the dry grasses and stirring the faint scent of winter blossoms. She'd come here with a tender longing in her heart, drawn by stories of ancient glaciers and the hypnotic hush that dwelled within the icy caverns. Cradled by the slopes of the Andes, Patagonia was known for its dramatic terrains, towering peaks, glistening lakes, and endless fields of ice. Yet for Luciana, this land wasn't merely a destination, it was a sanctuary. Beneath quiet skies, she felt the comforting presence of rolling hills, silent forests, and the slow breath of glaciers that had existed for millennia. The air held a clean, crisp quality, like the memory of fresh snow, and each inhalation awakened her senses with a vivid clarity. She had traveled long to reach this place, yearning to discover something within the whispering walls of ice, a deep stillness perhaps, or a peace that came came from aligning her heartbeat with the patient rhythms of nature. It was late afternoon when she began her approach toward the glacier's edge. The trail led through a corridor of ancient beech trees, their delicate leaves trembling in the gentle breeze. At times, shafts of golden sunlight filtered through overhead branches, illuminating patches of emerald moss. Other times, the path dipped into cooler shade, where pockets of shadow cast a velvety softness upon the ground. Each step felt unhurried, quiet, and purposeful, as though the forest itself was guiding her with gentle hands. The faint crunch of stones beneath her boots was the only human sound in an otherwise tranquil world. Birds in the distance sang with a distant melody, their calls echoing across tree trunks, while somewhere deeper in the thicket, a hidden stream gurgled its steady lullaby. Emerging from the woodland, Luciana found herself at the brink of a broad, teal-colored lake. Its surface shimmered in the waning daylight, catching subtle glints of sun that flickered like liquid diamonds. Here the wind grew stronger, carrying with it the faint taste of mineral-rich air. She paused on a smooth stone near the water, letting her eyes follow the horizon. In the distance, majestic peaks, crowned with snow, seemed to glow under the soft pastel sky. At their feet, a vast shelf of ice cradled the silent glacier. Its face glinted in the subdued light, crystal blues layered over steely whites, and emanated an aura of timeless wisdom. Even from afar, she could sense the glacier's deep hum, like a heartbeat thrumming through the bones of the earth. Drawing closer, she navigated a winding path along the lakeshore. The trail remained quiet, weaving between clusters of stony ground and patches of resilient grasses. The air grew cooler as she approached the glacier, as though an ancient presence exhaled a chilled breath from within. She moved slowly, savoring the hush that enveloped her, each step ushering her further from the distractions of everyday life. Occasionally, she would hear the faint crack and rumble of shifting ice, a soft reminder that this landscape was alive in its own stately way. The glacier, though seemingly motionless, was always in gentle flux, forging rivers of melting water that fed the surrounding valleys. In time, she came upon a small wooden pier stretching into the water. There, an old guide waited with a modest boat, crafted from sturdy planks and adorned with gentle white paint, now tinged with subtle flecks of wear. His face was kind, deeply lined by wind and time, and his voice, though quiet, carried the strength of someone who had lived many years in harmony with the landscape. He greeted Luciana with a faint nod, then extended a hand to help her step aboard. The boat rocked gently, a playful nudge from the water, before the guide cast off from the shore. As the vessel glided across the lake, a peaceful lull set in. The engine hummed softly, but it never shattered the serene hush of the open water. Shadows lengthened across the boat's bow, stretching like graceful ribbons that danced on the gently rippling surface. Overhead, clouds drifted in languid shapes, as if they too were lulled, by the mesmerizing calm. Luciana wrapped a warm shawl around her shoulders, inhaling the sharp, invigorating tang of glacier-fed air. She looked back at the receding shoreline and felt a gentle easing of tension, as though the silent hush of the lake were slowly coaxing away her troubles. Minutes passed like hours in that timeless drift, until the boat finally neared the massive glacier. She glimpsed the steep ice walls rising from the water with austere grace, their surfaces etched by centuries of movement. Streaks of turquoise and sapphire traced the ancient fractures, and pockets of air trapped deep within the ice gave it a luminous glow. Occasionally, a whisper of sound, an echo of ice settling, rose from the glacier's heart, resonating like a distant drumbeat. Luciana felt hushed awe take hold of her thoughts, each breath a quiet marvel at nature's power and poise. The guide slowed the boat to a near standstill, allowing her to take in the glacier's majesty. The air tasted of crisp mountain wind, mingled with the faint brine of the ancient ice. A meditative hush wrapped around them both. The cold water lapped gently against the hull, creating a soothing, rhythmic lullaby of soft splashes and distant echoes. Here, in the presence of this ancient giant, time seemed to stretch into a realm far beyond daily concerns. The glacier's immense face rose like a timeless sentinel, holding its stories of primordial cycles within. Eventually, the boat docked at a small makeshift landing not far from the glacier's base. There, the guide gestured for Luciana to disembark. She followed a marked path up a gentle incline, passing through scattered rocks that formed a natural amphitheater around the ice. Each footstep sounded muffled by the hush of this land. The wind, more present here, tugged at her clothes, lifting loose strands of hair and sweeping them into the cool air. She felt the chill deepen as she neared the glacier's edge, the temperature dropping in subtle increments that tingled across her skin, a quiet reminder that she was venturing into a realm where nature's ancient breath shaped every contour of the environment. Short distance away, another small group of seasoned trekkers was preparing for an ice walk, lacing sturdy boots and adjusting their harnesses with respectful attentiveness. This wasn't an excursion for noisy crowds or rushed visits. It was a slow, mindful communion with the ancient glacier. One of the trekking guides handed Luciana a pair of crampons, showing her how to fasten the metal spikes to her boots. The gear clinked softly, a promise of stability on the cold, crystalline surface ahead. As she stepped onto the glacier, an entirely new world opened beneath her feet, a vast expanse of sparkling whiteness, infused with veins of translucent blue that glowed as though illuminated from within. The first steps were cautious. The crampons bit gently into the ice, offering security with each carefully placed footfall. Each crunch on the glacier's surface sounded like the fragile crackle of broken glass. But there was no danger, only a whispered affirmation of a surface shaped by eons of shifting and refreezing. The guides proceeded in a measured line, weaving through seracs and crevasses that shimmered under the subdued light. Even the air felt purer here, bearing a crispness so fresh that each breath almost glowed in her lungs. She felt awake yet soothed, as if her heart synced with the methodical rhythm of her steps. With each exhalation, she released further tension, letting the glacier carry away any lingering worries. Intricate ice formations rose on either side, sometimes forming slender arches or sculpted corridors. The wind passing through these corridors created hushed, haunting whispers like the distant sighs of an ancient spirit. Now and then, shafts of sunlight pierced through cracks in the cloud cover, illuminating the ice crystals in a celestial glow. In those brief moments, the glacier took on an ethereal radiance where countless reflections glimmered like stardust captured in crystalline form. It was a landscape both stark and dreamy, a paradox of ice-cold surfaces that somehow kindled a gentle warmth in the soul. Luciana moved with the group until they arrived at a broad plateau, a gently sloping expanse of ice that offered an unforgettable view of the surrounding mountains. Off in the distance, jagged peaks stood like guardians, their white summits blending into the drifting clouds. The far-reaching sky seemed to cradle the horizon, painting it with subtle tones of soft lavender and pale rose. Snowflakes occasionally drifted in the breeze, swirling like tiny dancers around the trekkers' legs, then falling quietly into the glacier's folds. Even the silence felt textured here, as though layered by centuries of snowfall, each layer preserving the hush of past storms. At the center of this plateau, the guides stopped to set up a small resting spot. They carefully cleared a space where they offered hot tea in sturdy, insulated cups. Steam curled up into the frosty air, and the gentle aroma of herbal leaves mingled with the brisk sense of ice and mountain wind. Luciana cupped the tea in her hands, inhaling that aromatic warmth. The heat spread through her fingers and traveled up her arms, soothing tired muscles. For a time she sat in quiet stillness, sipping slowly and absorbing the beauty around her. She could almost feel the glacier's vast presence beneath her, a tranquil pulse that underpinned her every breath. The group exchanged only hushed words, simple reflections on the glacier's magnificence. Their voices were reverent, muffled by the icy expanse, as though even conversation needed to bow to the grandeur of this place. Occasionally, the glacier released a low groan, a shifting of ancient weight that reverberated through the ice. Yet, far from alarming, these deep echoes felt like gentle affirmations of life, a slow, purposeful dance of nature. With each groan, the travelers paused, momentarily reminded that they were guests of a living entity, an endless tapestry of frozen water weaving through centuries of time. With the short break concluded, the group ventured onward, descending to an area of sculpted ice caves. Curving walls glistened in shades of clear azure, forming winding tunnels where the faintest beams of light refracted in ghostly patterns. drips of meltwater formed tiny rivulets that wound down the ice walls, their quiet trickle weaving a lullaby in the hidden corridors. Now and then, Luciana would brush a gloved hand against the cold surface, feeling how incredibly smooth it was, like polished glass drawn from the world's most pristine well. She could sense the hum of ancient stories etched into each layer. Thousands of seasons, countless storms and thaws had shaped this sacred labyrinth of ice. As they emerged from the caves, Luciana found herself facing a wide overlook, a natural balcony of ice that gazed out across a distant glacial lake. The horizon spilled away into vast wilderness, revealing pockets of untouched forests, rolling hills, and silent peaks. A hush of gratitude coursed through her, and she lingered for a moment, letting her gaze wander. This was Patagonia's heart, a realm of quiet magnitude that pulled the spirit into a gentle embrace. The wind stroked her cheeks like a cool, benevolent hand, and she closed her eyes, letting that soothing breath lull her deeper into a state of awe and serenity. Eventually, the day's excursion concluded, and they returned to the boat that had carried them earlier across the lake. She said a soft farewell to the glacier, feeling a trace of sadness at leaving such a wondrous place, yet also an immense peace for having communed with its ancient soul. The return journey was just as still, the boat sliding over the calm waters in near silence. This time dusk had arrived more fully, and the high clouds took on soft hues of violet and dusky rose. Luciana wrapped her shawl tighter, feeling a pleasant fatigue that stemmed from a day well spent in communion with nature's quiet splendor. When the boat reached the shore, the guide pointed her toward a modest shelter tucked among a grove of evergreen shrubs. It was a small mountain lodge with wooden walls that blended into the landscape. A single lantern glowed warmly at the entrance, beckoning weary travelers to come inside and rest. Inside, the air was infused with the smell of wood smoke and faint traces of calming herbs. A gentle fire crackled in at the corner, casting dancing shadows against the smooth planks of the walls. The lodge keeper, a soft-spoken woman dressed in thick woolen layers, welcomed Luciana with a kind smile and showed her to a simple, cozy room. A single bed with thick blankets awaited, along with a small window that looked out on the distant outline of the glacier. The sheets felt cool but inviting, and she trailed her fingertips along the soft fabric before easing herself down to rest. Outside, the winds murmured through the evergreens, and she imagined the glacier breathing quietly in the dark. Every so often, a distant rumble would filter across the lake, reminding her that even in the depths of night, the ice was gently shifting, continuing its ceaseless dance. Luciana settled under the covers, letting her eyes drift shut as exhaustion gently gave way to contentment. Her dreams carried her back to that mesmerizing labyrinth of ice. She felt as though the glacier beckoned her deeper into its crystalline corridors, revealing hidden chambers filled with soft luminescence. In those dreamscapes, she sensed the flow of time easing around her, each moment stretching gently, allowing her to soak in the hushed beauty. Voices from the past, or perhaps from the ancient spirit of the glacier, whispered in tones that were both comforting and mysterious. At times she imagined she could see the swirling patterns of snowfall from ages gone by, their silent descent weaving the tapestry of the glacial heart. Each wave of imagery left her with a sense of belonging, as though she had become a small yet cherished thread in the glacier's vast tapestry. Morning came slowly, with dim gray light filtering through the window. The quiet of the early hour felt cocoon-like, wrapping her in a gentle embrace that allowed her to savor the calm before fully waking. She rose to a soft swirl of steam from the lodge's kitchen, where a kettle whistled faintly. The scent of brewed tea mingled with the lingering aroma of burnt wood, lulling her into a tranquil gratitude for this unhurried moment. Outside, clouds lingered low over the mountains, their bellies painted with pastel tints of dawn. The glacier remained a silent sentinel, its icy face reflecting a gentle glow in the cool morning light. After breakfast, Luciana took a slow stroll around the lodge's surroundings, wandering through small clusters of wild flowers that defied the harsh conditions. Even in this cold, these resilient blossoms offered pops of color amid the pale grasses and stony soil. The wind carried faint notes of pine, wet earth, and mountain air, a crisp medley that cleared her mind. As she passed the edge of the grove, she discovered a small clearing where the view extended toward the glacier's flank, reminding her of the breathless wonder she felt just hours ago. She paused in that clearing, inhaling deeply, allowing her lungs to fill with the fresh, cool air of a new day. The rest of her morning unfolded with ease. She lingered over tea, relishing the comforting warmth spreading through her hands and chest. Now and then, she opened a small journal to jot down fleeting thoughts, reflections on the glacier's luminescence, the quiet hush of the ice, and the calming presence of this remote land. She found that words flowed as gently as the streams born from the glacier's melt. By the time she closed her notebook, a peaceful stillness had settled within her, like a sleeping lake undisturbed by a single ripple. In the afternoon, she wandered again, this time along a quiet track that overlooked a wide valley dotted with curious guanacos and silent shrubs. The path was soft underfoot, winding past patches of hardy ferns and rocks left by ancient floods. Occasionally, she stopped to watch the distant shapes of condors circling overhead, their broad wings carving graceful arcs through the open sky. Whenever the breeze shifted, she caught a faint echo of the glacier's breath, a cool gust that carried the memory of turquoise ice. It reminded her that she was still in the realm of these towering wonders, where time stretched gently and nature's voice spoke in the language of wind and water. Evening found her back at the small lodge. She shared a simple meal with the lodge keeper, who spoke softly of the seasons and their gentle transformations. Summer days, though mild, brought a vibrant burst of growth. Winter nights lengthened, draping the glacier in an elegant hush. As they talked, Luciana felt the flicker of candlelight reflecting in her tired eyes, and the hum of the fireplace soothed her. The lodge keeper's words carried the warmth of someone who had long made peace with nature's rhythms. The slow swirl of the wind, the steady retreat and renewal of the ice, the gentle transitions that shaped this land's soul. Later, when the stars emerged, she stepped outside to gaze at the vast night sky. The deep velvet darkness cradled countless points of light, an infinite canopy that reminded her of the glacier's shimmering immensity. She pulled her shawl close against the chill, letting the silent constellations fill her with a profound sense of calm. The occasional sigh of the wind rustled the evergreen needles, and in the distance the glacier glowed faintly under the moon. No cars, no city lights, no traffic hummed here, only the gentle hush of nature lulling her mind into a state of serenity. With slow, steady steps, she made her way back inside, the quiet lodge promising a soft bed and deep rest. In the weeks that followed, Luciana continued her slow exploration of the area. She took gentle walks along neighboring trails, listened to the melodic calls of distant wildlife, and occasionally embarked upon short boat rides to witness the glacier's face at different times of day. She watched dawn's first light paint the ice with shades of pink, and she marveled at the golden glow of late afternoon, which lent the glacier a mesmerizing shine. Each experience felt both fresh and timeless, woven together by the unchanging, softly spoken presence of the ancient ice. Yet her favorite moments remained the simplest ones. Sitting on a rock near the water's edge, gazing at the glacier in silence, feeling her breath synchronize with the land's slow, patient heartbeat. In those moments, the entire world seemed to slow to a gentle rhythm, each breath an invitation to delve deeper into calm. She felt the day's tensions dissolve into the quiet surface of the lake. Sometimes she would run her fingertips across a smooth stone and imagine that the glacier's essence, that primal hush, flowed from the ice into the water, then out into the world. She sensed that the quiet here was infinite, an ever-present cradle in which she could find her truest sense of ease. Eventually the time came for her to bid farewell to this remote haven, yet she carried its serenity with her. Packing her things, in the soft light of an early morning, she felt no rush or urgency. The glacier, with its whispers of time and its gentle power, had taught her the value of stillness. She took one last stroll around the lodge, listening to the whisper of the wind in the branches, the soothing song of water trickling from glacial streams, and even the distant echo of ice adjusting in the far distance. Her heart brimmed with appreciation for the profound quiet she'd found here, a quiet that seemed to stretch beyond place and time, dwelling somewhere deep inside her. And now, dear listener, we find ourselves gently drifting back from this realm of chill tranquility. There is no need to hurry. Let your breath remain slow and steady, each inhale gliding like a fresh breeze over silent waters, each exhale releasing the last remnants of tension in your body. You have wandered with Luciana through hushed forests, glacial caves, and luminous ice formations that whisper ancient truths. You have stood on that glacier's edge, felt the crisp air fill your lungs, and discovered an unspoken companionship with nature's stillness. The memory of that crystalline world still lingers within you, ready to be revisited whenever you wish. As you lie here warm and safe, let each muscle soften, let your shoulders sink and your eyes grow heavy. The distant hush of the glacier resonates in the background of your mind, reminding you that all is well, that the world's slow rhythms will cradle you through the night. Imagine the hum of the ice echoing softly against the backdrop of your dreams, offering quiet reassurance that everything passes in due course and peace remains at the core of all things. Let that sense of peace gently guide you into deeper rest. Feel your heartbeat slow, settling into a calm, steady tempo. Let your breaths be gentle as your limbs grow light and float on the boundary between waking and sleep. With each gentle exhale, picture a faint cloud of silver air dissolving into the night, taking any lingering worries with it. A soft glow like the dreamlike reflections caught in glacial ice begins to envelop your mind, comforting you and drawing you deeper into restful slumber. Here you are safe, cradled by the infinite hush of nature's quiet mercy. Give in now, dear traveler, to the warmth of soft blankets and the lullaby of silence. You have journeyed far to this realm of frozen beauty, and the wisdom of ancient ice will watch over you as you sleep. Let the night embrace you in its tender hush. Let your dreams guide you to places of serenity and wonder. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well.